Hi everyone. I wanted to talk about a movie called Obsession. For me, this is the movie of the year for 2026. I truly thought that this movie was a gem. One of my favorites, for the last 5, 10 years, honestly. I really loved its story. The way that the lighting in this movie was just so perfect. The contrast between darkness and light in the movie and the way it uses the darkness and the way things look just so eerie and uncanny in this movie. It's nothing like I've ever seen for any kind of movie I've ever seen. And the characters were really, they were amazing. Their performances were amazing. And how aggressively all in this film went was so memorable to me. I feel like we always end up in the same place. We always hype a movie, like Hereditary, Long Legs, and I feel like it's to its detriment. It's not on purpose, of course, but I just feel like a lot of things, in our society of cynicism, we just look at all these films and everyone's a critic. And I'm one of those people who just loves to love movies. So I can say that I truly love this movie. Yeah, I really can't express to you guys how much I really loved this movie. It was truly amazing. Yeah, definitely, if you get a chance to go out there and see it, definitely go try to see it. Try to see it on the biggest screen possible with, IMAX or, the largest sound possible because the way that this movie uses its sound design, each of the booms and the smashes and the hits that come in this movie, you're going to want to see it on the big screen. You'd be doing yourself a disservice by not seeing it on the big screen. One of the things that I really picked up on for me personally was that it kind of covered kind of the current state of things when it comes to Gen Z dating. How none of us, even when we do have serious feelings for people, we are in a place where things just get left unsaid because all of us are afraid to take it to the next step, which, is understandable given the current state of all things in the world, whether it's just being afraid to look bad or not being able to say what you want to say. I really did feel bad for the characters that were in this movie because the main character, Bear, obviously he represents a lot of men in modern day and age. Just honestly not being able to say what needs to be said and kind of keeping to themselves. And the way he's portrayed in the movie made me feel a certain type of way because of, how he's portrayed as, kind of in a dark room, kind of looking at a screen and everything. I really do feel that's very indicative to the current state of the world. On the same note, the people working their jobs. I also kind of feel like that's a very modernist take of how everyone's kind of working jobs that are kind of just endless. And one of the central themes to me that was really, really important was the things that we don't see. You'll understand what I mean later, but the things that we often take for granted, or the things that we don't see, or the things that even go unsaid, are the things that come back to us later. One of Bear's closest friends, Ian, I really did not like his actions. I just did not like any of the things that he was doing in the movie, so you'll also see what that means when I say that. I just, I really felt like some of this stuff was preventable, but also you gotta be careful who you choose to be friends with, You can't just go off of the advice of someone, especially if it's not something that you trust. If you know in your heart that's not right, you shouldn't follow through with that. And really, I want to circle back to the movements and the lighting. The way that the characters move as the movie progresses is very uncanny, and I felt very unnerved. The lighting in the film made people seem more creature-like than human-like. I wish the main character would have just been more honest. I mean, I know that the movie is the way that it is, but I feel like this applies to a real life lesson in the film that we shouldn't just hide away these things. I feel like this could have gone a very different way. One of the things that obviously stood out to me was the complete unhinged nature of this movie. And we should really be careful what we wish for because love comes at different levels, and we should always be wary of too much of anything, especially asking for an unnatural forced connection that leads to disastrous consequences. Indy Navarrete, I feel like, is one of obviously a standout performance. I really hope she gets all the awards that she can get in this movie because she really truly deserves it. I feel like I was also really sad towards the end of the movie because to see his heart clinging onto something so much to the point, where he had to realize for himself that it was something, he could never have, even if he wished for it. I feel like that advice that was kind of given. There was a segment at the beginning of the movie where there was a mention of time doing the work. You have to let time do the work, and I completely agree with that. The aggression in this movie was truly unmatched. The voices and tone and sudden bursts throughout the movie was spectacular, and it made me realize how truly screwed the main character was. So yeah, definitely, if you get a chance to go see it with a large group of friends. This is one of the best movies in the last 10 years. Normally, I don't speak out about stuff like this, but this is my first time doing so, and truly, this was one of the best in the last 10 years. So definitely go see it. So overall for me, I would give this a 5 out of 5. It earns a perfect score for me due to its aggression, its central themes that are very prevalent to today's world, and I feel like the acting was perfect. And it's really amazing considering the fact that this was, like a first time effort for Curry Barker. Yeah, Curry Barker truly amazed with this first time movie. I know he's done stuff before on YouTube, and that's really amazing that he was able to go from, there's a lot of other movies out right now that have come from like a YouTube space that has moved to like an online, like a presence, like, being known for things. I know he did Milk and Cereal, he did a short called The Chair, and really it's amazing that this first time effort was so flawless. For me, I'll remember this movie forever. So I truly am impressing upon people to just go see this. Try to have an open mind. I know that a lot of people are very cynical when it comes to horror movies. They're just like, oh, best horror movie of the year. But I really would just want to impress upon people to just give it a chance, not to be too cynical about movies, and to just give it a chance. Because really, this movie truly deserves to be seen. And I really want to see more stuff like this. I feel like even if things aren't original, people really need to just give it a chance to see the acting and to be able to hear a story, to be able to see the dialogue and the tone and the lighting and everything to be able to truly be able to appreciate the art form for what it is. So yeah, definitely 5 out of 5 for me. It's something that I'll probably rewatch all the time.